Why did you watch it, Max?
Business reasons.
Sure. What about the other reasons?
Max Wren is a victim.
I woke up with a headache.
He has been exposed to Videodrome.
I've been hallucinating for a while, ever since...
What?
Since I first saw Videodrome.
His brain is already receiving video images. I think that massive doses of Videodrome signal will ultimately produce and control hallucination to the point that it will change human reality. Soon, his visions will coalesce and become uncontrollable flesh. Videodrome is seducing Max Wren.
Please, come to me now. Come to me.
And Max Wren can do nothing to stop it.
What makes you think I need help?
None of our test subjects has returned to normality.
Television can change your mind. Videodrome will change your body.
Long live the new flesh.
It will shatter your reality. Videodrome, starring Deborah Harry and James Woods. A shocking new vision from the creator of Scanners. Coming soon to a theater near you from Universal Pictures.
Wow, trippy. And welcome everybody to day 22 of 31 Days of Monsters. I'm your host, Graham Nolan. Today we're talking about David Cronenberg's Videodrome. This movie is way ahead of its time. I'd never seen it before today, and I really, really liked it. Touches on a lot of things that have happened since this movie was made in 1983 and that had been warned about. One is that technology is an extension of ourselves, and that we become part of technology as it becomes more and more integrated into our lives. The blurring of reality, which we see daily on TikTok, X, Facebook, all these various social media things. We have generations growing up not being able to fully discern reality from the phoniness of the video screen or the TV screen or the cell phone screen. So that's pretty much what he was talking about all the way back then in 1983, and how violence and sex, when it's presented to us in these little boxes in front of us, how it affects how we relate to one another as human beings. Again, we see that in discord that we see on our social media and how we're interacting as a nation and as a world. I really enjoyed this. I thought the performances were great. James Woods is really cool. Deborah Harry was a surprise in this. She was quite good in this movie. She made a few back in the 80s, not too many, but I think this might be her first one. But I thought she was excellent in it. We, of course, have Rick Baker doing special effects, and there's some really cool stuff in here. The vagina chest that opens up and puts the gun in. I have to say that scene bothered me, not because it was gross, but because when he put the Walther PPK in there, it didn't have the clip in it. And you can always tell because it's got a small handle, and the clip has a hook on it, like a little thing that comes out where a normal sized hand would rest, that would keep it on the grip. Without that, your pinky actually comes off the grip. And when he put it in there, he had already dropped the magazine, I believe. So that bothered me. But that's because I'm a gun guy. What can I tell you? Let's see, what else? Yeah, I think we pretty much covered it. I mean, shot in Toronto. Really, cinematography is great. This movie was a complete disaster at the theater. It bombed, and now it's listed one of the 100 movies you should see before you die. So that's just a indicator of the fickle taste of the public. Sometimes things come out at the wrong time. There was a lot of movies that were looked down upon that are now considered the great classics. Citizen Kane did not do well at the box office. The Searchers, John Ford's masterpiece, didn't do well at the box office. And now they're some of the greatest films ever made. I'm not lumping this movie in with them, but you know, it's quite good, and as I said, ahead of its time. I'll be curious to see what you guys think about this, because it is trippy. You know, the thing is when you're dealing with hallucinatory things, at what part does the hallucination end? And if you really want to get existential, we watched the Videodrome. So is everything that we have seen now part of our hallucination? I don't know. You'll have to think about that, won't you? Dr. Mask is here. He said this movie is weird. Okay. He also says, if you haven't already backed Escape from Monster Island, you should do that. Okay, that's not weird. See, we got the yin and the yang here. Dragon Dancer. Weird is what I was thinking too. Clavicle Exposition says weird as in not mainstream, usually the best, but he's not familiar with this one. Dr. Mask, replying to Dragon Dancer, says, I was intrigued by where it was going, but don't think we ever got there. Gen X Catholic. Now, this is the movie that opened my eyes to the body horror genre, easily the scariest genre, as it is about the loss of humanity. Yeah, Cronenberg pretty much defined that genre with the Scanners, this movie, The Fly. Rob Fellows is here. Prater7 says, good morning, everyone. Crazy Cat says, David Cronenberg always cast the most interesting leading men in great leading roles. James Woods, Jeff Goldblum, and Chris Walken. Rob Fellows has his quote of the day, I am the video word made flesh. Prater7, how about James Woods' glasses? Okay. Which ones? Those weird Sally Jesse Raphael ones that he put on when he was in the optical place? Grab yourself a cute and cuddly Shinu plushie or other cool items here. The Shinu would love that, people. He has his heart. He has your heart because he just tore it out of your chest. He would love that. JP Roca is here. Asks, what's good? Dr. Mask must have needed a palate cleanser because he watched Bride of Frankenstein after this one. Bride of Frankenstein explains why Frankenstein's my favorite monster. He likes cigars and wine. Ms. Stippling says, hail chat and Graham, sorry about the hot water heater. Oh, thanks. Much appreciated, Amanda. Prater7 is here. JP Roca, Past Master Dan. Diane Seaborn says, I saw Videodrome in 85 at university. Boy, was it one howdy doody over the line. Or howdy dowdy over the line. Crazy Cat says, Oh, blonde. Gen X Catholic, Mr. Oblivion. I thought that was clever. Definitely a red pill on McCultra and PsyOps. I'm not sure what McCultra is or if that's a spelling thing. Debbie Harry was the bigger star then. Must have been because in the trailer she got top billing there. Dennis Shoemate says James Wood is great in this. Hell, Woods is always awesome. Yeah, Woods is one of those guys. I like him in films, and he has this ability to give you that that phony smile. Like he could say something like, um, "Yeah, I had pancakes and bacon for breakfast," and then he goes back on to saying something. He gives this smile after he says something, and then he drops it and then goes on to something else, and it's like, wait, are you trolling me or do you mean that? It's one of his shticks. I like it. Crazy Cat, WTF, Graham, you just watched Videodrome, one of the earliest movies to comment on new media. Yeah, absolutely. And at the time, it seemed a little far-fetched, about media. But it wasn't. I mean, we're seeing it more now. It actually goes back further. David Cronenberg was a follower of this professor at the University of Toronto, and I can't remember his name right now, who wrote a book about media back in 1964, and was, which is what he based that Oblivion character on. And, so this stuff was being touted, way back then. Now Elon wants to put that chip right in your brain. Yeah, I'm a hard no on that one, Elon. I like a lot of the stuff you're doing, but that sounds more like Bill Gates territory to me. Kino Reviews is here. I'm not sure if I mentioned Past Master Dan, but he's here too. Bloody Drake is postulating the fact that Cronenberg may have enjoyed some hallucinogens. You think? Nice practical effects, which made for great promo stills in Monster and Sci-Fi mags. Yeah, Rick Baker was probably, I think, all of 23 when he did this movie, and his team, and came up with some really cool stuff. The living, breathing television, the expandingness of it, the stuff blowing out from it, the hand coming out with the gun, the guy who, of the chest cavity, the chest opening, the guy pulling it out with a potato masher, stuck to his arm, and then it blows up. Cool stuff. Oh, and when the optical guy gets killed and he starts to not decompose, really. He's sort of a cross between decomposing and blowing up. He's just falling apart there. You know what twist I did like is that the Videodrome thing, when he was working with the engineer, that was all set up, that he had been working there for 2 years because these guys wanted to get this broadcast, and they needed him to broadcast it and have people watch it so that they could destroy the weak-willed, the sinners, if you will. That was a cool reveal to me. I wasn't expecting that at all. Oh yeah, It's a Wonderful Life was another one that bombed at the box office. Dr. Mass says, "Yeah, I just feel this movie wasn't for me. The S&M stuff and some of the gore, not bad, but I wouldn't watch it again." I wouldn't watch it again either. But there's a lot of movies that I enjoy for what their message that they're trying to say. But once I know the message, I don't need it again, you know? And this is one of them. I mean, there's some movies I can watch over and over, like October 31st's The Thing from Another World. I can watch that a million times. I did say The Searchers with John Wayne. Ethan Edwards. Crazy Cat says science fiction, fantasy, and horror were largely dismissed and seen as trivial for decades. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, in fact, up until Star Wars, which technically is not science fiction, it's more like space fantasy. But getting budgets passed to produce quality science fiction back in those days was very difficult because the only successful, financially successful science fiction movie was Planet of the Apes up to that point, and that was an expensive one to make. And it didn't make a ton of money, but it did show a profit. Um, Now, they'll throw money at anything. Great scene with Frankenstein smoking a stogie. Yeah, I ordered one of those NECA Frankensteins. It's the Bride of Frankenstein. Frankenstein. I'm still waiting for them to send it to me. Um, and anyway, it's got interchangeable hands, and one of them's got the cigar, and that's the only reason I ordered it because I'm gonna put that monster sitting up by my humidor. I have the thing. I have the statue of the thing with the stogie in his mouth, and I'm gonna put my Frankenstein up there too. Oh, just got done mowing for the last time this year. I think I got one more in me because we got some warm weather today. It's supposed to get to like 78 degrees and then it's going to drop to 70 tomorrow and then into the 50s. And I think that'll be the end of Indian summer for us here. What's your opinion of the ending? Well, they shot three different endings, and the one that they used was actually suggested by James Woods. I'd like to see those other two endings and see how they ended it, but uh, I thought the ending was a little anticlimactic, to be honest. Um, I didn't see how him killing himself was going to uh, fix things, but maybe it's only because he's the last one that was part of it. Um, and to destroy Videodrome as a possibility to be used as a weapon. I guess that's what they were trying to say. I'm not very clear. Don't use that four-letter word here, Stealth X5. It's coming, but we're hoping for December. James Woods was great playing real-life serial killer Carl Panzram in the movie Killer: A Journal of Murder. Never heard of it. I need to check this out. I just got done watching the OG Salem's Lot movies and the new one. I'll need to check out the stream where you discuss the 2024 one. Yeah, that was just a couple days ago. Um, well, you've seen it. You have your opinion. You can watch the show and see what I had to say. I won't spoil it for you. Elemental MJ is here. Kino reviews, of course. Young, fearless visual effects makeup artist Sarah Force. Well, they are. They are when they're as talented as Rick Baker. Crazy Cat says, "Yeah, cool twist when you notice the guy who gave him Videodrome never actually looked at the videos with him." Exactly, exactly, and that doesn't become apparent until the reveal later on. Then you're like, "Wait a minute, that guy. Why didn't he turn? Because he never watched it. Because he knew there never was a signal that they were intercepting. It was all pre-recorded stuff he was showing 'em. I got tricked into watching Faces of Death, and it ruined horror for me. Faces of Death was basically coroner footage. Yeah, that movie came out in the early '80s. I remember watching it on videotape, and I was like, "Ooh, that's crazy stuff." Haven't watched it since. After he hallucinated killing the woman, he calls the guy from the station. Apparently, that's who you call when you need to get rid of a body. Well, he called him because he wanted to proof that what he was seeing is what he was seeing, and then the guy walks in there and he says, "There's nothing in there." Um, yeah, he was looking for validation and that it wasn't hallucinatory, like was promised to him with the tumor, so to speak. Spaceman is here. Stealth X5 says was like 40s, 50s, now up to 70s. Yeah, it was the same here. This is typically our Indian summer. We usually have this in October. It's usually around Columbus Day, and sometimes it can last 2 weeks, but typically it's only a week. This one's lasting a little bit longer, and believe me, I'm as a former Florida boy. I'm not bitching. I will enjoy today's warmth and sunshine because once the weather turns, then that's it. We don't. It's not going to be consistently warm until possibly the end of April, May. You know, the bass start going at May, and that's what I'm hoping for warmth. Oh, Crazy Cat says the Criterion Collection disc for Videodrome has a ton of extras and bonus features. I wonder if the other two endings are on there. That would be interesting. If they are and you've seen it, tell us about it. Tell us what the other two endings were. Elemental MJ says, I have no idea who Videodrome is. Do you have any photo references? Do you go more into it before I arrived? You will just have to watch the repeat then, won't you? Elemental MJ. And Videodrome isn't a who, it's a what. Chris Thacker says he hasn't seen this movie since 1984. Salem's Lot 2024, faster, more intense, but lack character interactions with other townsfolk and parents have been better in an 8-episode miniseries like Midnight Mass on Netflix. Yes, it's too rushed. It's also it lacks suspense. Um, we see Mr. Barlow within 3 minutes of the opening, whereas in the miniseries we don't see him for quite a while. And Straker, you can't beat the James Mason version. So rewatch the episode from a couple days ago, Kino, and you'll get the full skinny. Crazy Cat says movies that make you feel like you're losing your mind along with the main character are fun. I like that kind of movie. Yeah, I don't mind trippy kinds of movies as long as there's they explain things to me by the end. I'll give the crazy flow up until a certain point, and then I gotta have some kind of resolution. Otherwise, it's like, what did I just waste my time with here? You know. Well, this could be a problem. Tom Tuttle said he watched this on a night when he was altered, and it messed him up for the rest of the night. LOL. Yeah, if you're zoning a little bit and you watch this movie or Altered States, another one of his, uh, yeah, I can imagine that would be weird. Dr. Mass says, I knew Salem's Lot was not good when halfway through I was scrolling on X. Yeah, that's how I get through bad movies too. I usually have my iPad with me, and I'm as the movie is going on, I'm reading trivia things about it, kind of boning up on it and see if there's anything interesting or more interesting than what's actually happening on the screen. Kino Reviews tells us to do not drop acid and watch the OG Evil Dead. That's a tip of the day, folks. Don't do that. Okay, let's see. Anybody else here? Comments that I've missed? All right, tomorrow is another new one that I have not seen. I just heard about it today. Actually, we got two coming up. Tomorrow's is Psycho Gorman, and what's today? Today is Tuesday, so Wednesdays is Psycho Gorman, and Thursdays is Freak of Nature. Then Friday we have Bubba Hotep. That seems like a good way to end a Friday. Followed by The Witch, Lake Mungo, Piranha. Those are two I have not seen, The Witch or Lake Mungo. But then we get to some fun stuff to close out the month. Piranha, Gorgo, When Worlds Collide, and then, of course, The Thing from Another World. So great. All right. So there's our homework, guys. Psycho Gorman. I think it's on Netflix. Here, let me just double check for you. Psycho. There it is. All right, let's see. No, it says it's on AMC Prime Video channels. It's a rental on Prime for $2.99. I don't know if it's anywhere else. So looks like I'll be renting again. I've had to rent a lot of movies this year, but they're not too expensive. So we get through it. All right, my friends, you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Till then, have a good one. Bye-bye.